In today's video, I'm going to go through the demonstration of how to connect external ADAT modules, in this case the Focusrite Octo Pre-Dynamic, which is 8 input, 8 output, A to D, D to A converter, so 8 microphone on line level inputs, to my Behringer Firepower FCA1616. Behringer Firepower FCA1616 has 8 inputs and 8 outputs, 4 microphones and 4 lines at the back. I do have a whole series on the Firepower FCA1616, and I will leave a link in the description or even a card at the top corner there that you can follow up. I'll go in details about this one. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how to connect an external additional 8 inputs and output, so that it gives us a total of 16 inputs, 16 outputs, all multi-channel, going into your DAW and returning back another 16 outputs, 8 on the Firepower FCA1616 and 8 on the Focusrite Octo Pre-Dynamic. Now Behringer does have ADAT 8200, which is 8 input, 8 outputs ADAT module, which I don't have, but the procedure is pretty much the same. The Behringer's ADAT 8200 is a perfect match for the Firepower FCA1616 as well. ADAT extension modules like this one, they don't connect directly to your PC via USB. They connect to already existing audio interfaces that connect to your PC with USB or Firewire. The way the external modules connect to your audio interface is with these cables here. These are optical cables, and I've got one right here, as you can see. They do have some plastic protection because they are quite sensitive and they are delicate as well, so you need to protect them when not in use. They plug at the back, and you will require 2 of these, one for input, one for output. We are looking at the back of the unit now. That's the FCA1616, and that's the Focusrite Octo Pre. So those are the inputs and the outputs. And the way it connects to our interface is through the ADAT connections. So I've got my first one. So I'm going to connect the output. They only go one way, and they click right in. So the output will need to go to the input of my ADAT unit. Again, click nicely there. And the second one, I'm going to connect the return input to the output. Now I know you don't really have to connect both at the same, you don't need to if you are only using as inputs, if you're never going to use the output, but it's nice to have both of them connected. That way it's all intact, so if you ever need to, it's already there, all connected. And that's the connection that we need to connect to my PC. I'm just going to use the USB connection at the moment, but the FCA1616 can also connect through Firewire. And the USB or the Firewire, we carry all of the 16 inputs of both units. 8 inputs from FCA1616 and 8 input from the ADAT module. And at the same time, the 8 outputs and of the FCA1616, as well as the 8 outputs of the ADAT module. Okay, let's power the units. I already have the driver installed on my laptop. Because we don't have a USB connected, that's why it's flashing blue. And I have selected ADAT. We use this switch to select the connection we want. At the moment it's ADAT, so let's turn this on. Now it's flashing to make connections. And it'll be waiting for our USB connection with the driver to make sure that we've got all of the sample rate and the bit rate and all of those correct between the two units. So let me connect the USB. USB connected, and here at the bottom we can actually see the green LED. It says locked. That means we now have the two units talking to each other and locked. I also have the sample rate selected 48, which is the maximum for the Behringer unit, even though the Focusrite can go all the way up to 96 using two sets of optical cables, but the FCA1616 only supports up to 48. So that's the highest rate I've selected, and it's locked. Even though it's flashing, that's only because it's not talking to the PC at the moment. Now that we have the device connected to my laptop, you can actually see how the FCA1616 has all of its inputs 1 to 4 as mic, and then 5 to 8 as line level inputs at the back of the unit. And then we have our ADAT inputs 1 to 8 and our MIDI input as well. Then for the outputs, again we've got line output 1 to 8 and the ADAT output 1 to 8 as well as the MIDI output. So let's connect a microphone to the input 1 of Behringer FCA1616. It's just an XLR connection that I'm making. It's just a dynamic microphone that I'm actually connecting. This is just a Sennheiser microphone. So let's give it a try. I'm just going to turn the volume up, and we should be able to see signals at the input as analog, and we can also see the signal at the output. Now you will see because it's pairs, left right, that's why we are only seeing the output to the left come on, and that's when we can press the mono button. Now we have our signal going out to both channels. So let's have a look and see how that works on our PC. So here in Cakewalk, as you can see, I've got my tracks, and I have selected my input to be input 1 of my FCA1616, and we can actually hear the audio. Now you will also notice that the audio would only be coming from the left, and that is normal because the left is 1 and input 2 is the right. Now that we established that it works from our FCA1616 input 1, just going to turn that off, unplug it, and I'm going to plug this to the input 1 at the back of the ADAT unit. Plugged in, and let's turn the level up, and we should be able to get some levels. I'm just going to turn some compression on as well, so the compression is active. We have some signal, and at the same time we can see right here for digital input, we can see there is signal every time I speak, and it should be all good. So let's have a look in our DAW how that affects there. Okay, so now at our inputs, and as you can see, I have now selected the ADAT input 1 of my FCA1616, ADAT 1, which is the first input of my Focusrite ADAT unit. And we can see signal going up as well, and all fine. So that means we can now record up to 16 individual tracks, all at the same time multi-tracked. Well, I hope this video was a helpful guide on how to connect your audio interface with external ADAT unit, in this case the Behringer Firepower FCA1616 with my Focusrite Octo Pre, but the same situation could be a perfect match for the Firepower is the Behringer's ADAT8200. If this video was helpful, make sure you give me the thumbs up, and as always, thanks for watching and have a great time making music. Cheerio guys!